What's up guys, Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we are talking about Neko rigs. Everything you need to know about Neko rigs, the bait, the rigging. I have some really cool tips for you. Let's go. Man, can you believe that it's November? I'm in shorts and a sun shirt. It's like 82 degrees today. It is warm. But don't let that fool you. The cold weather is here. You know, here in the next few days, we're gonna be dropping back down again. I've seen some parts of the country already getting really cold, snow, wood burning stoves going. But today we are talking about a Neko rig. So I have some cool tips for you, some little rigging secrets. But first, those of you guys that don't know, what is a Neko rig? You know, a lot of you guys have been following the channel for a long time, and just recently I did like my top 5 baits for the month of November, and everything was reaction, 4 of them were reaction, and the one finesse bait was a Neko rig. And some of you guys might have been wondering, well, I know you were commenting, you know, why a Neko rig? Why not a drop shot or a shaky head or a Texas rig? So today's video, I'm gonna explain that and then show you some really cool rigging ways that I'm sure you guys haven't seen before. So a Neko rig or Neko rig, however you want to pronounce it. Basically, you know, when you wacky rig a bait, you basically fold it in half and you put your hook right in the middle of the bait so it is symmetrical and it is a wacky rig, right? So basically a Neko rig or a Neko rig is a weighted heavy head, and then your hook is down in the last like 80% of the bait. So when you're working this bait, you have the head down there on the bottom and you have this tail up there shaking and quivering and shimmying in the water. Just gives you a lot more action when your bait is dead and you're not shaking that rod tip. That bait's up there just dancing around. Now a wacky rig, you kind of hop it and the arms kind of do their thing and then fold out and then fall. It doesn't really do anything unless you shake that rod tip. Well, when you have that weighted head and you have that tail up there standing up and dancing, it just has a lot of movement. And that is why I recommended it for the month of November. Even though we're going into winter, you know, your water temps are dropping, but your fish are very active. You know, it is a real quick moving bait. You can fish it fairly fast. We're going to talk about that here shortly with the weights you put in the head, but you can fish it fairly fast. You can skip it up underneath docks like you would a traditional weightless wacky rig. It's a very universal bait, but depending on the head that you put in it, the weight of it depends on how deep you can fish and how fast you can fish through an area. And it's all about covering water this time of the year to find those bait fish and find those largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass. So that is why I picked a Neko rig over the other finesse baits, you know, your Ned rigs, your drop shots, that sort of stuff. So now that we kind of talked about that, real quickly, I want to show you guys how to rig one. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this, but some of you guys that aren't, I'm going to show you everything you need. That way you can go rig some up yourself. So the first thing you're going to need is a bait. Hands down, my favorite bait to do this technique is going to be a 5-inch Senko. This is electric shad, okay? So you have your bait. You need a weight. This is actually a Swagger tackle. This is the Pagoda weight. This is a 3/32 ounce. I'll actually show you. I should open this package. Here is a 16th ounce. You don't need a lot of weight. You just want that bait to fall fairly quickly. You know, a weightless wacky, it's gonna catch and it's gonna fall very slowly, whereas a weighted one side or the other is gonna turn and then drop like a rock. So, well, not drop like a rock, but you guys get it. So here is a 16th ounce and here is a 3/32 ounce. These things are, grab that Senko, my hands are all slippery. Real small, but you can see on these weights, what I like about these weights specifically, you can see how aggressive the ribs are on the bait. So if you are a guy that is going after smallmouth or spotted bass. You guys know as you get close to the boat, those things like to go crazy, get airborne, and a lot of times they will fling your tungsten weight out of your bait. So that's why I really like these Pagoda weights by Swagger Tackle. I mean, look how aggressive those ribs are. So we got the bait, we got the weight. Now on a Senko, you have a slimmer tail and a fatter head section. So you take your weight, again, this is where those ribs and that point come into play, and you're gonna insert that into the head of the bait. About, I like to give myself about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch into the bait. I wanna make sure this thing is all the way into the bait, okay? Now, you need your handy dandy, these are VMC Nico pliers. I don't know exactly what they're called, but I'll link them down below in the video description. But you can see they're spring loaded. The cool thing about these, they have little storage containers on the side for your O-rings or their crossover rings. Now let me show you these real quick. So a traditional O-ring is just a circle, right? The crossover ring, let me see if I got one out for you. Here's my Neko Rig box, by the way. Got my baits, hooks, different weights. Package real quick. Let's go with, so those of you guys that ask, a number 7, these come in different sized rings, these VMC crossover rings. So number 7 is what you want for a 5-inch Senko. Number 6 or number 5 is what you want if you're gonna go with a smaller soft plastic. We're gonna talk about that here in just a second. So this is an actual, let me put it on this guy. This is an actual band, so it's thicker than the O-ring, but it has a little extra piece of plastic, right? The little extra piece that you actually can run your hook through. Okay? You see that? I can't tell if you guys can see this in the camera or not, but hopefully you can. See that? Now your bait goes right through there. See? Okay, so take our Senko, run it through. Again, we already have the head and the bait. Trick with this is you're not going symmetrical. We're gonna go about, let's go about there. Pull this band off of your pliers. Boom. Now you have a forward heavy, weight head heavy, weedless. These are my favorite hooks. These are the Sniper Finesse Nico hook by Owner. Now you have a 5-inch Senko, same bait that you would wacky rig, but now you have it weedless and you have it weight heavy, weight forward in the front. So again, you can still skip this, but you can fish it a lot quicker this time of the year. And that is why it is a standout for me. Again, it's all about covering water, finding those fish, and then once you find them, be able to get real aggressive with that bait, let it fall, hop it up, let it fall, and let that thing just shake there on bottom. So that is the essentials. That is everything you need to rig a Neko rig. So you need the bait, the weight, the band or O-ring, and your favorite wacky rig hook. Again, this is my favorite. That's that, it's actually a titanium weed guard. It's the Sniper Finesse from Owner. Either a number 2 or number 1. Okay, so now that we talked about the basic rigging, let's get that out of the way. We talked about why the Neko rig. Let's talk about some of the cool applications or the cool baits to really take advantage of bass chasing bait right now. Now this next thing I'm gonna show you, I have never seen a video on. I've never seen anybody even talk about it, but I wanna show you guys anyway. Everything I just showed you, you can do with your favorite fluke style bait. Tell me that doesn't get bit. If you want to downsize, go with the Super Fluke Junior. That's a number 2 mosquito light hook. Again, little band in there, little weighted head. I have a 16th ounce head in there. You guys know how well a jerk bait or a soft plastic jerk bait works this time of the year. You ever tried throwing one down in the fish with that guy right there? It is killer. So favorite fluke style baits, same thing, you rig your weight in the head, you use an O-ring or a band, and you use your favorite finesse style hook. That's a drop shot hook. That's a Mosquito Light number 2. Guys, that is money right there. That's that same Sniper Finesse hook. You can go wire or titanium weed guard if you want, if you're fishing around dock pilings or timber, flooded brush piles, that sort of stuff. But if you're fishing open water and you're fishing for spots, get rid of the weed guard. You don't necessarily need that. But a fluke. So I'm gonna go over my favorite worms, but wanted to throw that one out there for you guys. Just if you haven't ever, take your favorite fluke style bait and Neko rig it. You know, we've talked about drop shotting, swim baits, we've talked about that sort of stuff, but now we've talked about Neko rigging those baits. Super cool, and it catches a ton of fish. Okay, so those of you guys are like, hey, I don't know anything about this, I wanna try it, I wanna take my favorite 6-inch drop shot worm, okay? Here is a robo worm, 6-inch straight tail robo worm. It's a number 1 Mosquito Light hook. That is a size 5 VMC crossover ring. So you can take your favorite 6-inch, 5-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch worm, doesn't matter what it is, whatever you want to use to get down there and imitate bait fish. Again, a lot of things, all the colors I'm throwing right now are all bait fish. Electric shad, that's Aaron's Pro shad. What else we got? We got Hillbilly Special in the quiver. You know, everything is kind of your shad colors. Now, if you're on a crawfish or a crawdad lake and your fish are down there on bottom eating crawdads, go with that 956 color in the Senko. It's got that orange and watermelon black. That is a must. But you can take your favorite 6-inch bait, 5-inch, 4-inch, whatever it is, and you can find the right size band, crossover ring, and you now can Neko rig it. Okay? So, number 1, my favorite bait, let's talk baits real quick, and I have one more cool little trick for you guys for rigging. So, easiest, most simple, that 5-inch Senko, okay? Now again, with that weight in the head and you're shaking that rod tip, this is staying fairly stable on the bottom, and you have that tail up there doing its magic. Okay, so we got the Senko. Next one up for me, if I want a little bit more action, it's a Senko-esque type body, but it has like a paddle beaver style tail. Okay, let me show you the Senko real quick. This is that's the quiver by Missile Baits. This is a 6.5. It also comes in a 4.5. Okay, see that tail? That has a ton of action up in the water when your bait is rigged weight forward. Okay, so the quiver, 4.5 or 4.5, 6.5. Again, that's Hillbilly Special. I believe that's the color. Double check. Yep, Hillbilly Magic. Good thing I checked. Hillbilly Special, Hillbilly Magic. Okay, these names, hard to keep up these days. Okay, so electric shad, Senko, the quiver, Hillbilly Magic. If you are in a clear water fishery and you just want to go natural, you can obviously still go with your green pumpkins, watermelon, you know, that sort of stuff. But next bait for me is gonna be this guy right here. This is the Z-Man floating worm. This is in green pumpkin. Now the thing with the Z-Man, the Elastec, obviously these baits last a long time. You can catch a ton of fish on one bait. It is a little bit, because it's so stretchy, it's hard to kind of get that weight in the head. You got to play around with that for a while. And then don't store your bands on these baits. You know, if you're fishing, fish it right, fish it through the day or whatever, but eventually this will eat through the rubber. You know, that Elastec material does not play nice with others, but the benefit of this worm, the reason I have it in my top 3 is because it is high float. This thing sticks straight up. So if you're looking for a worm to stick straight up, fish it. It's got a real slender body, okay? real slender, so it just has a ton of action. Now, as we go into winter and we start really cooling down, and those fish really kind of slow down, obviously you're not gonna want to bait with that much action, but right now, that guy is great. And then last but not least, this guy that I showed you right here. I mean, you can do it on your Kitex, you can do it on all sorts of stuff, but the fluke with that forked tail, it just has a ton of action. That guy is king when they are chasing bait, okay? So we got the baits done, we got all that stuff. Hopefully you guys are getting some confidence in this setup. I have one rigged up here. Don't know why I rigged one for you, I already had one rigged up. I'm really particular about how I rig my baits too. Obviously I want, I say obviously, I want the dark, if I'm throwing this electric shad, I want that dark, the back facing out. I want the belly underneath. You know, you can be that particular if you want, or just chuck it out there, hook it, chuck it out there and go for it. But we'll talk about gear here in just a second. Last little tweak that I want to show you guys. I think I have the stuff. Oh, if you guys haven't seen these boxes, Matt actually turned me onto these boxes. It's the little Spro terminal boxes. Check this thing out, little bite size. They come in a couple different sizes, but I'll show you the bigger one so you guys can see it first. But it's like my day box stuff. So I have, since we're talking about Neko rigs, I have 16th ounce, 3/32 ounce Pagoda weights. I have my bands there, my crossover rings. I have some weighted wacky stuff. I got some guppy heads, but you can make all these little individual compartments and try and do this without spilling everything. Clicks in, right? So look, I got all my drop shot Neko rig hooks right there. Got some weedless ones with wire guards on there. Got some drop shot weights, but how cool are these little boxes? So this one, I actually have all of my split rings, sized, swivels, but last but not least, I have my owner centering pins. Same thing you use on your A-rig, okay? All that to show you this little trick. Let me see where the blade went. Give me just a second, I got stuff. Heck, I don't know where it went. Hold one aside for you. But talking about adding flash to your favorite Neko rig. You know, if you're gonna go with a 3/32 ounce weight, a little bit heavier, something a little bit heavier, and you're hopping that bait as it falls, this blade is just like an underspin. It's twirling on the way down. So I wanted to show you guys how to, I don't know where that little guy went. I'm gonna find it after I hit, you know, stop recording. So let me just undo this one real quick. So all you do, take your favorite ball bearing swivel and your favorite blade, and I take size medium, take this one off so I can show you all the way how to do it. And I literally just, through the end of that ball bearing swivel, just like you would onto your A-rig or underspin or whatever, and I run this through that swivel and spin it on, okay? See? Now I can take this blade and put it, hopefully these shadows aren't very, very bad, and put it in my favorite Neko rig or favorite wacky rig. You know, they come pre-rigged, but you can make your own really, really easily. Again, just push this right into the head of the bait, or the tail of the bait, I should say. Spin this all the way in so that the bait is up to the base of the swivel. And now you have a bait that has some vibration when you pull it, you drop it, it's gonna twirl down. And with that centering pin on there, it is fairly, that's why I go with the medium, because it has more grip than the small, but it has a ton of vibration and flash. So a little tip, if you guys want your traditional Neko rig just a little bit different, add that ball bearing swivel and blade and that centering pin to the back of your bait, and it will catch them too. All right, guys, so hopefully that helped. You know, again, it's all about covering water right now. These fish are chasing bait. They're chasing shad, and they're looking to feed up for the winter. So keep your eyes peeled, looking for those fish busting, looking for those bait balls, and fish reaction. Fish your rigs, your A-rigs, your crankbaits, your swim baits, that sort of stuff. And if you have to slow down, try throwing a Neko rig with one of these baits that I talked about today. Guys, if you have any questions, please leave those down below in the comment section. Real quick, I forgot to talk about gear. Your favorite medium rod. It could be a 6.8 to a 7.2. This is actually a 6.8 medium. I have that braid to leader, but your favorite all-around purpose spinning rod, do everything, is great. If you want to throw it on a bait caster, say you're throwing that little bigger quiver and you want to throw a heavier bait, you can throw that on a bait caster as well. But guys, if you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comment section. I will try to get to those as soon as possible. I'll link all these products down below in the video description so you guys can check them out. But don't be afraid to try throwing a Neko rig this time of the year. Take those tips, take those baits, those colors, that gear, and you guys will have success all the way through into winter. Guys, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys on the next video.